G'day and welcome to Queensland Farmer. Well, the weather forecast for the next 5 days to 7 days is about 100 mils of rain for here, so that's pretty exciting. What that means to me is that there's some areas around that dam that you may have seen previously where there's some fairly bare earth there, and I'm worried that erosion is going to be an issue there. So I'm going to get some of this mulch out over that area today. I'll put a bit of fertiliser down, a bit of seed, and then some of this sugarcane mulch, hopefully to provide a bit of an armour across that bare soil. Any rain that does hit it will be absorbed into the sugarcane mulch, and hopefully that will stop some of that erosion happening. The other thing we need to do is to get around any areas that do collect water. We need to do a bit of maintenance. I'll capture all that today, and I'll show you the sorts of activities you need to do when you think you're going to get 100 mils of rain over a week or so. The bare areas down the bottom of that hill are now pretty much covered up with organic matter, which is the sugarcane mulch. Remembering that there's the fertiliser underneath it and some seed as well. Some of it's a bit thick, but I was thinking about it while I was doing it, and I think I would prefer to stop the water running across it right now so it doesn't cause any erosion than to germinate those seeds right now, so those seeds can come later. What I've also done up on top of the track is I've dragged a fair bit of that mulch up into a heap, so a line or a heap of mulch there. The reason I've done that is water often comes off this track and heads down that hill, and I think that's probably what started the erosion through there. It sort of washed away the topsoil that was there. So by doing this, I'm hoping that this will certainly bring that erosion to a halt. And then with that organic matter on top and some seed and that fertiliser, hopefully we'll get something to grow there. Now, I've got a little bit more to do. That bale's now gone. As I'm not going to use a full bale, I'll probably bring it in the back of the trailer behind the ATV. Quite steep down here. Now I have noticed that sugarcane mulch, when it gets wet, it gets very clingy, and I'm hoping that it will just hold together. I'm intending on throwing it down there if I can get it there. Or I might even drive down there, I haven't decided yet. However, we'll get some coverage over this area, as if the rain that has been promised, well, perhaps not promised, but if they have forecast the weather correctly, it'll be terrific to see quite a bit of rain coming down here in a short period of time. just as long as it doesn't do any damage. I guess that's the double-edged sword of being a farmer. Anyway, I'll check in again once I've got another bale of mulch. That's a nice healthy dose of mulch. As you can see, most of the dirt areas have been covered up. So hopefully if we do get that rain event like the Bureau have indicated, that this ground won't erode. In fact, it'll absorb that water and keep it moist for some time and hopefully germinate some of that seed. Well, the next thing we need to do is climb a ladder and check the screens that are at the top of the tank. And that's what stops all the debris coming out of the gutters. And before it gets into the tank, it gets stopped there. Often these get quite congested with material, and if you have a big downpour, I've actually seen it happen where water actually doesn't make it into the tank, it just overflows. So we'll sort that out on this tank now. Yep. And as you can see, even though I've cleaned this not so long ago, given we have trees around here, it's very easy for this sort of stuff to fall in. So we'll move all of this out of the way. The people we bought this farm from were quite visionary when they put the tanks together. This shed that we can see just here, this gets fed from either side of the gutter. It comes down through here into this tank, and once this tank is full, it overflows across that roof just here and then goes into a smaller tank just over there. You can see the shed over there also feeds into that tank. So it's really handy that if this tank, for example, gets a little bit low, and often we pump out of here into our garden, we can pump back from that smaller tank back to keep this one full. And any time that we do get rain, it just overflows back into that tank again. When we are pumping from that tank to this tank, we do it through the day because we've got plenty of solar to use and it costs us nothing to pump at that time. Another tank and certainly some more debris. So we'll clean that out and we'll get that sorted. As I was saying before, this is the tank that takes the overflow from the tank we just saw. It takes a feed from this particular shed, comes down into here, and it also takes a feed off the top of that shed just there, which comes after it comes out of that other white tank. Well, certainly that won't come up very nice. On to the next tank. Well, this is tank number 3, and you can see there's certainly plenty of debris here. We'll definitely need to tidy this up before this rain comes. But while we're here, we also get to see how these mangoes are going. Once again, that one's come up very nice. Just while we're at this tank, this is another example of where there's been some vision in terms of where you can transfer water at this farm by the previous owners. So this tank here has a stopcock on it, as you can see just here, and this one's plumbed into another tank. So the other tank's getting a bit low. We also pump out of it to put water on the orchard when we've got plenty around, or even onto the grass when we've got plenty around. So given we're getting some rain, and I know this tank is chock-a-block full, what we'll do is we'll just open this one up, and this will gravity feed into the next tank. So when we do get that rain, we're not going to waste as much when it overflows. Open that valve right up and then turn it back just a little bit. Okay, on to the next tank. This tank also has some debris in here, some leaves. So we'll clean this one out and then we'll move on to the next one. Well, this one's our main house tank and it's actually pretty tidy. We use a filter system before the water gets to here, so often any of the leaves that come down through the gutters are dispersed elsewhere, so they don't really make it to this point. But it's certainly worth looking. So a quick tidy up and we'll move to the next tank. So I've just come to clean this tank and you can see underneath it I've got a little kangaroo or a wallaby, I'm not sure what it is, just hiding under the cover of it. It's another warm day today. I think it was 33 degrees here yesterday, so it's certainly heating up, so that's always nice to see. Unfortunately, I'm going to disturb this one while I clean the tank. This is actually the back of the stable that we have. No horses, but we've got a stable if we ever decide to get horses. I'll just move towards this animal and see what he does. Yeah, look, I've decided I won't actually do this tank. It's obviously too hot for this little fella, so I'll come back and do this one after the next tank. Hopefully it'll move on by then. That way at least I'm not chasing it away. Okay, well, we are back at the stables. That kangaroo has gone now, and this is a sign that I really do need to clean this. It's under quite a few trees, and often is the case that when you have trees over infrastructure like this, it does get dirty, and I think I've just been a bit slack. I haven't really got back here. We don't depend on this water per se, although we do leave it running just so the wildlife can have a drink if it does dry out elsewhere. So I'll clean this one up and I'll show you the results. And that's a lot cleaner, and given how dirty it was, I think I'll hop up and have a look in the gutters and see if they're full as well. This is the trough attached to that tank, and certainly doesn't look like a human would want to drink out of here, but certainly the animals do come here. Often there's lots of birds about. We've got a stick in there just to make sure that if a bird does fall in there that they can climb back out. However, I think I might empty it and just make sure that there's nothing dead inside it, given the colour of it. And I'm sure that it will refill once we get this rain they're promising. Anyway, famous last words. Well, that's certainly looking a bit cleaner. This is the water coming in out of the tank. If you're wondering why this structure is over the top here, is that horses are quite mischievous and quite intelligent, so they would play with that float until they broke it. So they've covered this up just to make sure that it doesn't get easily accessed by the horse that used to live here. The green colour was not because of anything dead in there. It was really just this rotting material, just leaves. I'll put this stick back in there and we'll leave this one as it is. Yeah, well, there's plenty of leaves through here, so we'll get that sorted out quick smart. Certainly a lot cleaner than it was. I probably should do this more regularly. Fingers crossed, lots of farmers get to see that rain. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see.